In a small village surrounded by forests and fields lived a boy named Eliot. He was 12 years old, thin, with curious eyes and a quiet nature. Eliot had no brothers or sisters, and most of the other children avoided him because he was shy and preferred books over games. He often spent his afternoons sitting under the old oak tree near the river, sketching birds in his notebook. While the other children laughed and played, Eliot listened to the melodies of sparrows, crows, and nightingales. He loved their songs but could never understand what they truly meant. One evening, as the golden sun dipped behind the hills, Eliot whispered to himself, "If only I could understand them, then maybe I wouldn't feel so alone." The next morning, something extraordinary happened. Eliot woke to the sound of chirping outside his window, but this time, instead of meaningless tweets, he heard words. "Wake up, sleepyhead," sang a sparrow. "The worms are out early today," added a blackbird. Eliot jumped from his bed. "Did you just speak?" he asked, blinking. "At last! He can hear us," a crow cawed loudly. Eliot's heart pounded. Somehow, during the night, he had gained a magical gift, the ability to understand bird language. At first, Eliot thought it was a dream. But as he stepped outside, birds from every corner of the village began talking to him. The pigeons on the rooftops complained about the baker who chased them away. The swallows by the river spoke of faraway cities they had visited. A wise old owl from the forest whispered, "We birds know many secrets, little one, but few humans listen." Day after day, Eliot spent hours listening. He learned about hidden springs in the forest, storms before they arrived, and even which farmers treated their animals kindly. The birds told him truths that people ignored. They spoke of the balance of nature, the importance of patience, and the power of quiet observation. Eliot began to see the world differently. Every sound carried meaning if one listened deeply. Eliot, excited about his gift, tried to share it with the villagers. One afternoon, he ran to the market and said, "The birds told me a storm is coming tonight. We should protect the crops." But the villagers laughed. "Birds don't talk, silly boy," said the blacksmith. "He spends too much time alone," whispered another. Even the children mocked him, flapping their arms and chirping like birds whenever he passed by. Eliot felt embarrassed, but the birds comforted him. "Do not be discouraged," the owl told him. "The world often laughs at those who notice what others ignore." That evening, as the sun set in a red sky, the birds grew restless. "Eliot, warn them again," cried the sparrows. "The storm will be stronger than any before. The river will flood." Eliot rushed to the villagers once more. "Please listen. The birds are certain. Move the animals to higher ground. Save the grain before it's too late." Again, many ignored him, but a few, seeing the worry in his eyes, decided to follow his advice. They carried sacks of wheat to the storerooms and tied their animals safely. That night, the storm arrived. Thunder cracked like drums, and rain poured for hours. The river overflowed, washing away carts and barrels. By morning, fields were flooded and houses damaged. But the families who had listened to Eliot were safe. Their animals survived and their grain was dry. Slowly, the villagers began to realize he was telling the truth. From that day forward, people looked at Eliot differently. The farmer who once mocked him now asked, "What are the birds saying about the weather this week?" The children who teased him now begged, "Tell us a story the swallows told you about the faraway cities." Eliot was no longer the lonely boy. He had become a bridge between people and nature. The villagers learned to listen more to the rustling of leaves, the flow of water, and yes, the songs of birds. One evening, Eliot returned to the old oak tree where everything began. The wise owl landed beside him and said, "Remember, Eliot, your gift is not just about hearing birds. It is about listening. The world whispers its wisdom every day in the voices of people, in the silence of nature, even in your own heart. Few listen carefully, but those who do understand deeply." Eliot nodded. He finally understood. Years passed. Eliot grew up, but he never lost his gift or his habit of listening. He became a guide for the village, teaching children how to recognize bird calls, how to respect nature, and most importantly, how to listen. And so the lonely boy was lonely no more.